figure out which NBA franchise is the greatest of all time, we're gonna be doing NBA Imperialism All-Time Edition, meaning that each NBA team will have every one of their best players from the start of the NBA all the way to now. And if an NBA legend has been on multiple teams, whichever team they were on when they were in their prime is the team they'll stay on in this video. And with NBA legends transcending time and teaming up with one another, lock in your pick now for which franchise you think is gonna come out on top as we spin the wheel to see who's attacking first. Let's see who's imperializing first. The Warriors. They're going north. They're playing the Kings. And before our little battle of Northern California, let me iterate that Kevin Durant is on the Thunder, not the Warriors. I figured since he won his MVP in OKC, he should play there. And also, if he was on the Warriors, this might be the most uninteresting video of all time. Because this Dubs team had the greatest shooter of all time, Steph Curry, and the greatest rebounder of all time, Wilt Chamberlain. Not to mention other great shooters like Klay Thompson and Rick Barry, but also terrific rebounders and defenders like Nate Thurmond and Draymond Green. This team was a force to be reckoned with, but don't sleep on the Sacramento Kings. They had one of the greatest point guards of all time, Oscar Robertson, and they also had Jerry Lucas and DeMarcus Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins is an emotional lesbian.
But emotional or not, DeMarcus Cousins would be showing up in this game against Golden State. And let's not forget about Domantas Sabonis. There's a lot of weapons on this team, just like pretty much every team in this video. But the Warriors had Steph Curry and Wilt Chamberlain, which was quickly becoming an insane dynamic duo. And this game, to no surprise, would go down the stretch with the Warriors up 2 as the Kings would be inbounding the ball. 30 seconds left, the Warriors are up 2. The Kings want the lead. Mitch Richmond mid-range. They're gonna tie it up. Shot clock is turned off. There are 20 seconds left. They're gonna want to take the lead. It's 2K. Probably gonna do something stupid. 11 seconds. 10, 7, 6. Curry in ISO. Oscar Robertson. Oh, he gets his board. Curry! Is Steph good? Is he okay? And with Steph getting his rebound but barely missing an easy putback, we'd be going to overtime. And in overtime, things would be close. We'd be going back and forth, but the Warriors would get a 3-point lead late, and the Kings would be forced to foul. This thing was on ice. Yep, this one's over. The Warriors are gonna win it. The Warriors would be now claiming all of Northern California. And if you look closely, we're probably gonna be seeing a Lakers-Dubs matchup at some point in this video. And in addition to this legendary matchup, we got teams like the San Antonio Spurs, who have about 15 7-footers, as well as teams like the Rockets, who also have a few skyscrapers. Also, not to mention a bunch of new dynamic duos around the league, specifically the Milwaukee Bucks, who had Giannis Antetokounmpo and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who coincidentally enough would be next up on the chopping block. And the Bucks would be sent northeast into Detroit Pistons territory, their division rival. And the Pistons have some terrific all-time players, of course, but it doesn't really matter if you have Isaiah Thomas and Cade Cunningham when the other team has Giannis Antetokounmpo and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, as Detroit's bigs would be outmatched, meaning the Bucks would be taking this one and they'd be moving into Michigan. And we'll certainly be hearing more from the Bucks in this video, but for now, let's see who's going next. The Clippers. Oh gosh. I want to say they're getting Nevada, but they're hitting the Lakers. Clippers fans, all 5 of you, sorry in advance. And at the time, my apology made sense. The Lakers had Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. As for the Clippers, they had a few decent stars like Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, but other than that, they just were nothing compared to a legendary franchise like the Lakers. But in this battle for Los Angeles, the Clippers clearly were doing some form of witchcraft, because down the stretch, they were only down 2 with under 15 seconds remaining. Clippers got it. They have a chance to go to overtime or upset the Lakers. I don't even... How is this close? Ron Harper is on the court. For the win! Corey Maggette almost actually upset the Lakers. And with Corey Maggette's game-winning shot rimming out, the Los Angeles Lakers would be taking over the second half of California. And I assure you that this is far from the last insane game ending in this video. 3 for the tie. Bang! What the fuck? But for now, we'll be moving to the next team on the attack, going east with the Miami Heat. And the Heat would be having to go northwest into Orlando Magic territory. Going into this, I saw Tracy McGrady paired with Dwight Howard and figured we'd have a competitive battle, as the Heat had D-Wade, Jimmy Butler, Alonzo Mourning, Chris Bosh, and plenty of other stars. But this thing would get underway, and the Magic would be getting crushed. My reaction speaks for itself. Miami is smashing them. T-Mac, what the hell? How do you beat by 36? But with the Magic getting ass blasted, they would now be losing Florida, and Miami would be taking the entire state. Moving on to the Brooklyn Nets, who would be taking Vermont, who cares? Followed up by the Grizzlies moving into Kentucky. Then with the Utah Jazz next up, taking the state of Wyoming. And with the next move, we would be back to playing basketball. Let's get a game. Nothing relating to Wyoming. The Pelicans are playing the Rockets. The Rockets are insane. And the Pelicans weren't too bad. They had Zion Williamson and Anthony Davis. But the Rockets were just too deep. The average height on this team was about 7'5". That's an exaggeration. And it certainly didn't help that Zion almost overdosed on Burger King before the game. With the Rockets winning by 48 points, they would be moving eastward into Louisiana. And so with 5 teams eliminated, let's take a look at the map. There are still plenty remaining, but if somehow your favorite team or the team you wanted to win is gone, go ahead and pick another. And keep in mind, both of the GOATS franchises are still available on the map, so lock in once again who you think the best franchise of all time is, as we now move on to the New York Knicks. And the Knicks would be attacking east into Brooklyn Nets territory. And I'll just say the Nets are pretty sorry, because most of the stars that they've gotten have been past their prime. So I figured the Knicks with Walt Frazier, Carmelo Anthony, and Patrick Ewing would smash this fraudulent Nets team, but I was sorely mistaken, as it was a 2-point game with 30 seconds left. Like, what the This game is close for some reason. It's Nets ball, they're down 2. I don't know what's going on. This is the weirdest team comp ever. Like, the Knicks are so much better. Brook Lopez break. Like, I expect that. All right, now we're fouled. I think it's over. Why was that even close? It actually wouldn't be over, as the Nets would only be down 2 with just a few seconds remaining. Bad shot. Alright, what the hell was that? So with the Nets ritual barely failing, the New York Knicks would be expanding into all of New York. And next up, my team, the Atlanta Hawks, would be on the chopping block. And with the Hawks moving into Memphis Grizzlies territory, I'll be honest, I really didn't think they'd win. But with Trae Young throwing lobs to Josh Smith, there was not much that the Gasol brothers could do. The Hawks would be winning this game and moving into Tennessee. And up next, the Lakers would be heading east, claiming Nevada, and I made their color on the map purple because things were getting a little too yellow. Followed up by the Miami Heat, who would have to go west, slightly south into San Antonio territory. And it was a phenomenal run for the Miami Heat, but it would be cut short. The San Antonio Spurs were just a team of defensive menaces, and they would handle the Heat easily, moving over into Florida. Followed up by the Denver Nuggets going east into Kansas. Then the 76ers would be up next, going south into the Wizards territory. And if you didn't know anything about the Wizards all-time team, I'll let Nick Young speak for himself.
Yeah, I'm all-time Wiz. I'm a 90-something. You should be. No, people. You and Alvin Hayes.
Allen Iverson, along with Joel Embiid, would be ass blasting the Wizards, and they would be moving into the District of Columbia. And now the San Antonio Spurs would be back on the clock, and they would be moving into Rockets territory, meaning we would be having a battle of the Giants. This is gonna be like a battle of the bigs, but then the Rockets have Harden, so if anything, I think that gives them the upper hand. And I truly believed that the Rockets did have the upper upper hand in what I thought was gonna be an intense battle would be somewhat close for 3 quarters, as James Harden would be able to work in isolation as well as throwing lobs to Yao Ming and Hakeem Olajuwon. But don't count out the San Antonio Spurs, as the 2 Frenchmen would be splitting a baguette, as well as the Admiral sending a few shots into the nosebleeds. In the last minute, this game wasn't really close. The Spurs had nearly a 20-point lead. I'm kind of shocked, man. The Spurs would be claiming victory as well as taking over the majority of Texas, knocking off what I thought was one of the best all-time franchises in this whole video. But the Spurs, as dominant as they seem right now, are gonna have to cross paths with a bunch of other legendary teams if they want to cement themselves as the greatest franchise of all time. And not to mention, we still have the 2 greatest players of all time remaining, which we will get to soon. But first, Oklahoma City's gonna be taking Arkansas. Then next up, Reggie Miller and the Pacers would be heading east into Cleveland Cavaliers territory, facing LeBron James. And the Pacers didn't just have Reggie Miller, they had Paul George, Tyrese Halliburton, and deep shooters like Danny Granger. But the Cavaliers didn't just have LeBron James. They had Kyrie Irving, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Love, Evan Mobley, and a few other stars, but not as much depth as the Pacers. So this would clearly be a back-and-forth matchup, with the Pacers knocking down some ridiculous 3-pointers, as well as having some unreal facilitation. And on the other side of things, the GOAT LeBron James would be the glue to hold this Cavaliers team together, using his elite skill set to drop some ridiculous dimes, as well as connecting with his dynamic duo Kyrie Irving on multiple occasions. This game was a close battle, but down the stretch, despite not being as deep as the Pacers, LeBron and the Cavs would be getting it done by 5 points, sending Reggie and Paul George home, with Ohio expanding west into Indiana, now sharing a border with Michael Jordan and the Bulls. So we'll revisit the Cleveland Cavaliers later. For now, the Spurs would be up next, and they would go east into Mississippi, followed up by the Minnesota Timberwolves, who would be going southeast into Milwaukee Bucks territory. I just think the Bucks are too good. And while seeing Anthony Edwards and Kevin Garnett on the same team was really sick, it wasn't sick enough to beat this Milwaukee Bucks team. They had incredible weapons from the outside as far as shooting goes, and in terms of getting inside the paint, good luck getting past Giannis and Kareem. Milwaukee would be wiping Minnesota off the map, taking over their territory. With next up, the Los Angeles Lakers, who would be going west into Golden State Warriors territory. We would be having a premier matchup. I think the Warriors are undersized. I don't think they can guard Magic and Kobe and all those guys, but only time will tell, as we would be getting tipped off in San Francisco. And to no surprise, the Warriors would be the ones lighting it up from 3-point range. Not to mention, they would also have Wilt Chamberlain to do the majority of the dirty work. And just seeing Shaq and Wilt alone go at each other was enough for me. And let's not forget about the great Kobe Bryant as well as Magic Johnson. This Lakers team seemed almost unstoppable with its level of legendary depth. But I'll just point out the fact that the Lakers don't have a ton of 3-point shooters, especially in comparison to the Warriors. As the best 3-point shooting NBA franchise in history, seemed like they were actually going to pull this upset. With about 30 seconds left in the 4th quarter, they were up 16. Yo, the Warriors are up 16. They're starting to click. And so now the Golden State Warriors would have all of California and a big chunk of the West Coast. Knocking off the Lakers, honestly the team I thought would win this entire video. But with many other legendary teams still left on the map, let's start with a not so legendary team, the Charlotte Hornets, who would be attacking west, going for my Atlanta Hawks. The Hornets have some crazy shooting though. They kind of got the makings for an upset. And the Charlotte Hornets had plenty of shooting as well as dunking, but the Hawks honestly did too. These teams matched up very well, and we would have a neck-and-neck battle down the stretch where I rooted on my hometown team. Minute 20, I'm cheering on the Hawks. Call me biased. Yeah, I am. All right, Trey's not in the game. That's probably fair. That's probably fair. What the hell? Alright, why would Muggsy Bogues be on Joe Johnson? That's ISO Joe. Oh my, LaMelo. Oh, Dominique! Hook him. Blue Hudson, step back. He's disgusting. LaMelo Ball with Dominique Wilkins on him. Sizing up, this is isolation. LaMelo, Jelly, nah, hell no. What? Cliff Hagan, you're wide open. Oh my, what a diva. Fight him. Okay, all right, is Trey in? Trey Young is in. I'm so hyped. This is so cool. Cliff Hagan hits Kemba Walker like Trey cannot guard him. I'm not gonna like, okay, make it a 3-point game. Oh, he missed it. He missed it. I got Joe Caldwell in. Joe Caldwell, no disrespect to you. I don't think you're that chopped, but Joe Caldwell has the worst 2K face scan I've ever seen. He doesn't look that bad in real life. Anyway, back to the game. 3-point game. Trey Young, oh! Bang! That's it. They're gone. And now, my Atlanta Hawks would be taking over North Carolina, and somehow they'd still be surviving. So we'll return to my favorite team later. Subscribe so I can get to 100K, please. I need this.
Do it.
Back to the video. But for now, we're gonna talk about the 76ers, who would be going west into Cleveland Cavaliers territory. And quite honestly, they were running into a buzzsaw. The Cleveland Cavaliers had LeBron James, and the 76ers had some good star power, but overall, they didn't have enough defense to stop LeBron and Kyrie Irving. It was clear in this matchup that Kyrie had the better handle over Allen Iverson, as the Cavs would wipe the floor with them, moving to the East Coast. Then the New York Knicks would go east into New Hampshire. I mean, I do not care. Followed up by the San Antonio Spurs, who would be going northeast to my Atlanta Hawks. All right, well, it was a good run for the Hawks. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And yes, it was a good run, but it's gonna take a lot more than Dikembe Mutombo to stop 7-foot Tim Duncan, David Robinson, and Victor Wembanyama. Spurs would be smashing the Hawks, and now they pretty much ran all of the Southeast United States. Moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks, who would be heading southeast into LeBron James territory. And going into LeBron James territory, we would have an amazing matchup. Evan Mobley would do his best to mitigate Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the post, as well as Giannis Antetokounmpo, and LeBron and Kyrie's connection hasn't gotten any weaker. The Bucks would also be drilling a couple threes with Chris Middleton, but Giannis and Kareem would be working the post. We would be having a nail-biter finish coming down the stretch with about a minute and a half remaining. Actually, okay, they have Evan Mobley. Oh, Kyrie. I forgot the Cavs had Evan Mobley. That actually helps a lot. Where's Giannis? Put Giannis in the game. I think he's checking in. Chris Middleton with LeBron on him. Oh, Larry Nance. Bucks up by 3. Kyrie driving. Oh my. Fight him. Kyrie is not gonna miss these. He's not gonna miss any of them. Giannis checks in. I don't know, man. The Bucks still have too much size. I mean, Brad Daugherty or Dartry, whatever the hell, he's not gonna do anything. Sidney Moncrief into Kareem. Kareem, like I said, what is Brad Daugherty gonna do? Okay, he's gonna stop Kareem. Kyrie takes it up the floor, saucing Sidney Moncrief. Kyrie is taking every shot. Kyrie Irving, been a great scorer for the Bucks. He's not just a defender. Brad Daugherty. Kareem! Oh my gosh. Okay, bro. Jack Doherty. Kareem. Kareem hits the first. Oh, Kareem missed the second. We stay tied. LeBron takes it up the floor. Donovan Mitchell. Left wing into Kevin Love. Kareem folded. What does Kareem do? The Cavs are up 2. Nick and Tyre take the lead. Bucket. This is crazy. I feel like the Cavs have more clutch players than the Bucks. 24 seconds remaining. Shot clock is on. About a 5-second difference. Into Kyrie, you're folding. Kyrie, you're actually folding. Michael Redd to the rack. Bucks up 2. Here we go. Kyrie Irving. He's the clutch man himself. Oh my gosh. 7 seconds. 6. Kyrie drives. Bad shot. I think the Bucks got it. Well, hold on. Giannis is the worst free throw shooter I've ever seen. Giannis hits the first. Is this the dagger? Giannis hits both free throws. That's ball game, bro. The Bucks are advancing. And with the Bucks eliminating the Cavs and expanding eastward, LeBron would be sent home. But with one of the GOATs out, we still had another left in Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. And not to mention, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors were waiting for their next victim, in addition to legendary franchises like the Boston Celtics as well as the Oklahoma City Thunder still on the map. With less than half of the NBA franchises remaining, we still had a plethora of talent. And speak of the devil, the Chicago Bulls would be up next, and they would be going southeast into Bucks territory. Meaning in order to advance, Michael Jordan and his Bulls are gonna have to dethrone what has been a pretty dominant Bucks franchise. And so we'd be getting tipped off in Milwaukee, and while MJ would have a phenomenal few highlights, the big man depth for Chicago just wasn't really there in comparison to Milwaukee. Giannis and Kareem alone would be responsible for 74 of the Bucks' points. Additionally, with Milwaukee just having way more shooting depth than the Bulls, Chicago would be getting canned rather handily, and the other GOAT, Michael Jordan, would be sent home just in his first game in this video. Milwaukee would be taking the state of Illinois, and having eliminated both of the greatest players ever, they were looking like the greatest franchise of all time at this point in the video. So we're definitely going to be seeing a lot more Milwaukee, but for now, the Jazz would be heading east into South Dakota, okay. Then the Golden State Warriors would be up next, heading southeast into Suns and Charles Barkley territory. And Charles Barkley is obviously well known as one of the best rebounders and most physical players of all time, but in this game, he met his match with Wilt Chamberlain, who's probably the only other player you could say is a better rebounder and stronger than Charles Barkley. The Suns team also just kind of blew, and nobody could guard Steph Curry. The Warriors would be destroying the Suns, expanding California into Arizona, followed up by a few teams who would just be taking some states, starting with the Blazers, who would go northeast into Idaho, followed up by the Thunder going north into Missouri. Then the Spurs would be heading eastward, and I just kind of gave them Alabama and South Carolina, because why not? And next up, the Boston Celtics would be getting their hands dirty going west into New York Knicks territory. And New York is also another legendary franchise, but keep in mind, the Celtics have 18 championships all time. Additionally, Larry Bird paired with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, with Bill Russell holding down the post, was just unstoppable. The Knicks never really stood a chance, and Boston would be expanding into New York, and now it would be the Denver Nuggets' turn to attack as they would be going towards the Oklahoma City Thunder. And while Nikola Jokic is probably the best player in the world right now, he didn't have much support, especially in comparison to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who had MVP SGA, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and a few other superstars, such as Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp, who are carried over from the Sonics franchise. So Denver would be getting squashed, and Oklahoma City would be expanding west, getting a little closer to the Utah Jazz. And at this point in time, I think it's safe to say the Thunder are kind of a sleeper to win this whole thing, so we'll hear from them later. But now we would be hearing from a team that we haven't heard from in this video, the Toronto Raptors, who would be heading in the Boston Celtics direction. And while I love Kawhi Leonard and Vince Carter on the same team, those two guys just were not enough to dethrone a legendary franchise like the Boston Celtics. And so Larry Bird would have himself a game, and the map would be getting a lot greener. Then the Portland Trail Blazers would be up next, and they would be going southeast into Jazz Predator Karl Malone territory. And I thought Damian Lillard, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Bill Walton would be slapping the cuffs on the Predator in this game, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The mailman would be delivering, and the Blazers would be giving up their territory to Karl Malone and the Jazz. And next up, a team we haven't heard from would be attacking the Dallas Mavericks, and they would be heading north slightly east into Thunder territory. And looking at just how deep the Oklahoma City Thunder were, I figured no chance the Mavericks get a win. But despite having some of the greatest scorers in NBA history, the Thunder looked like they were going to be upset, primarily because Luka Doncic and Dirk Nowitzki were really familiar with pulling upsets. They would be taking this one in OKC by double digits. And now the Mavericks Mavericks were making it clear that they were a force to be reckoned with. Kind of an upset, not gonna lie. Moving on to the Celtics, who would go northeast and take Maine, then landing back on the Mavericks again, who would be heading northeast into Bucks territory. And it was a fun little moment of tomfoolery for Dallas, but their road would be ending here. The Bucks were just too well assembled. The team was pretty much perfect, and Giannis would be dunking all over Dallas, meaning that the Bucks were claiming a large portion of central United States. And next up, the Bucks would be playing again, this time attacking, going into Celtics territory. We would be having a battle of two phenomenal teams. And before this legendary matchup, I'll revisit the fact that there's 5 teams remaining. Your predictions have been horrific. Go ahead and pick another team, as we have the towering San Antonio Spurs, the legendary Boston Celtics, the long athletic Bucks, the sharpshooting Warriors, and last but actually probably least, the predatory Utah Jazz. Lock in your pick for the greatest franchise of all time as the Bucks and Celtics go at each other. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Russell would have a cinematic battle in the post. Additionally, Jason Tatum and Larry Bird's chemistry was at an all-time high. These two legendary franchises kept it close for 3 quarters, but in the fourth, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's perfected post hook would prevail for the Bucks. They would be beating the Boston Celtics by double digits. And for me personally, this was pretty shocking. The winningest team in NBA history would be sent packing. Milwaukee would be turning the bright green into dark green, and they would be taking over the Northeast United States. And so with our final 4, the San Antonio Spurs would be up next, and they would take Virginia. Then the felonious Utah Jazz would be attacking, and they would be going southwest into Warriors territory. And I'll just save you some time. The Utah Jazz are a solid franchise, but they really kind of had a Mickey Mouse journey to this point. They only beat one team in this video, and that was the Trailblazers, so the Golden State Warriors did not struggle. There was no one to put up any type of fight against Steph Curry, and Wilt Chamberlain would be picking up any rebound off his misses. The Warriors were slapping the cuffs on Karl Malone, and they would be taking over a large portion of the Western United States. And with our last 3 teams remaining, it would be the Spurs' turn. They would be going northwest, and they would be facing the Bucks. This is going to be a battle of the Titans, quite literally. And with the matchup, I honestly wanted to see this entire video. We would be seeing a titanic battle. With about 20 different 7-footers going at it, this game was a dogfight. As Giannis would be going at David Robinson, and Victor Wembanyama would try his hand against Kareem. These matchups would be transcending time, and with about 30 seconds remaining, the Spurs had a chance to put a dagger in the Bucks, or the Bucks had a chance to get a stop. It's looking like the Spurs got it. Anything can happen. Over to David Robinson. Into Wibby! And as I've harped on a few times in this video, what's gonna make a franchise successful is if they have a lot of rebounding and a ton of shooting. And the Bucks totally had that, but the Spurs had it way more. Wemby would be putting the dagger in Milwaukee, meaning that San Antonio was taking over the Eastern United States. And so now the stage was officially set. Either the Golden State Warriors or the San Antonio Spurs were the greatest franchise of all time. So make one final selection and let's dive into this. We would be playing in San Antonio because they won more games than the Warriors. And off the bat, Wemby and Tony Parker's ridiculous French connection would be strong. But don't forget about the Splash Brothers, who also had Wilt Chamberlain and defensive help from bald-ass Nate Thurman. There were giants on both sides, but I'll tell you right now, the main matchup in this game would be between Wilt Chamberlain and David Robinson. So buckle up for the most insane 2K simulation ending I have ever seen, as we would jump in with under 3 minutes remaining and the Spurs would be up by 1. This is to decide who the greatest franchise ever is. We got 2 really good ones here. I think we got like 9 championships on the floor right now. Curry, step back, bang! Oh my! Driving on Rick Barry. Rick Barry playing defense, I guess. Tony Parker scores on Wilt after getting the rebound over him. All right, Steph Curry has Tony Parker in isolation. Into Wilt Chamberlain. Out to Rick Barry. Rick, kick it, Rick. Rick, you don't even know what's going on. You have no idea, man. All right, Tony Parker. David Robinson is posting up Wilt Chamberlain. This is insane. Wemby's clapping. Hey, Wilt won that battle. Why is Curry guarding George Gervin? Draymond Green? Hell no. Good defense. That's good defense. Rick Barry drives into Draymond. Tim Duncan. We're tied at 87 apiece. Tony Parker in it. This is a mismatch. That's free. Out. David Robinson. That guy's an idiot, bro. Sorry, David Robinson. Klay Thompson folds. Wilt Chamberlain with the putback. Curry's actually playing good defense. David Robinson in on Wilt. Fade away. He's nice. He's nice. He's... Steph Curry with Tony Parker in isolation. Wilt Chamberlain backing down David Robinson. Oh, he got him in the air. That's a good foul, though. I don't think Wilt Chamberlain could hit the broadside of a barn with his free throws. Wilt. Oh, my. All right, Wilt Chamberlain. Yep, he missed them both. That's a good foul. It's a good foul. George Gervin pushing the pace. Where's Manu? What is that? What is that? That's a bad shot. Not gonna lie. Should have just gone to the rim. Into Rick Barry. He's wide open. David Robinson! What a block. Look at that. Boom. I mean, Rick Barry's on drugs for taking that. I don't know why he even thought he could make that, but... All right, we're tied. There's only 40 seconds left. I'm sweating. Are you sweating? Draymond over to Steph. He's kind of open. That's open for Steph Curry, bro. Warriors take a 2-point lead. Spurs kind of need a score. Oh, Tony. Whoa, whoa. It's a little much, Steph. This is to tie it up. He hits it. 91 apiece. There are less than 30 seconds left. 7 seconds. Separating shot. Game clock. Wilt from Curry. Oh, my. And with Steph throwing an insane lob to Wilt Chamberlain, the Warriors would be up 2. And with the shot clock turned off, the Spurs would have to respond now, or the Warriors would be the greatest team of all time. All right, it's the Warriors to lose. No shot clock. 2-point game. Into David Robinson. David Robinson! It's just clutch play after clutch play. We're tied up. Could be getting a game winner. The Warriors have it. Steph Curry. They say he can't hit clutch shots. We're about to see. He's trying to work in on Tony Parker. What is this, Steph? What is that? Terrible. Tim Duncan for the win. Oh my gosh. And as overtime got underway, Wemby would take the floor again, and so would Manu Ginobili. The Frenchman would put in his work, but Wilt Chamberlain would also be backing down skinny Victor Wembanyama. And just like that, with under 2 minutes remaining, we'd be in familiar territory. The Spurs would be up 2, as the Warriors would do everything they could to tie it. Steph Curry into Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt. Turnaround jumper. That's fake. That's actually fake. Wilt and Steph, man. Into David Robinson from Tony Parker. What? That's a bad shot. Wilt with the defense. We still got a tight one. Minute 20. 102 apiece. Tony Parker can't guard you, man. What is that? Wilt? Travel, maybe? I don't know. Oh, a pick for 3. He missed it, dude. Wilt Chamberlain is disgusting. He's making David Robinson look like a baby, but he misses that shot. Now George Gervin's pushing in transition. Oh my, Iceman. That was weird. George! This is insane. I don't know what to say beyond that. 52 seconds left. Steph Curry's got it. Oh my. What? Will, just dunk it. What am I watching? What's going on? Why is he taking jump shots? He's like the most athletic guy that ever lived. George Gervin inbounding. We're tied up once again, man. 40 seconds left into David Robinson. It's just a battle of the bigs. He misses. We're still knotted up. Draymond driving. Kick. Klay. Wide open. What are they doing? Klay Thompson. When you need him most. And with Klay Thompson coming through clutch, the Spurs would be in the same position again. Down 2 with the shot clock turned off. George Gervin into Tony Parker. This is, okay, and again, it's just post. What? What is going on? Wilt and David Robinson are just beating the shit out of each other. 16 seconds left. Steph now is holding it. They're gonna go to Wilt again. I think they're running the same action here. Maybe he'll just ISO. Maybe he'll go for game. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, Wilt. Are you good? What kind of shot is that? We're going to another overtime. And with another dumbass shot, we'd be going to a second overtime. Wemby and Nate Thurmond would be going at one another, and then the Spurs veterans and Wilt Chamberlain would take the floor, and we'd be in a similar position yet again. Except this time, the Warriors were up 1 and looked to build on their lead. Wait, we'll probably go to a third overtime. Probably at this rate. It's Warriors ball up 1. Clay. Okay, horrible shot from Clay. Tony Parker pushing the pace. George Gervin driving. George Gervin! He's so good, man. Into Wilt Chamberlain. Bro, what is that? Like, that's so stupid. Tony Parker pushing to the rack. 3-point game. We know the Warriors can hit some threes, though, but it's literally just Wilt and Steph. That's it. Which, I mean, that's a pretty good setup. Steph for the tie. It's off. Wilt Chamberlain pushed him. Clay wide open. He's wide. I mean, this is Clay just was like walking it off. D-Rob, what the hell is going on? You're looking at a legendary jump in. Now Steph, Tony Parker on him. Oh, saucing him. All right, stays with him. Clay driving on Silas. Bad shot and honestly a bailout call. Klay Thompson gets them within 1. Klay Thompson knocks down. We're tied up. Get ready for a third overtime, bro. We might be here a while. I've already been recording for 5 hours. It might go to 7. Oh, that got tipped. Oh, it's Tim Duncan. He misses that? All right. Curry up the floor. He's pulling that. Bro! Steph, put him to bed. Tony Parker. Silas setting the screen. Tony Parker's open for 3 for the tie. Bang! What the fuck? I like to not swear in these videos, but it's really hard to not swear right now. I don't know. 25 seconds left. We're tied up. Might go to a third. Oh my! You broke him. Shoot the shot. He's dribbling it out. They're finally doing that. Let's see if it's Steph and Wilt again. There's like a second separating the shot clock and game clock. Rick Barry. It's going into Wilt. It's going into Wilt. And it should. And it should. He misses. They call timeout! They call timeout! We might be seeing a gamer right here. Tim Duncan would get a clutch rebound and timeout. There would be 1.2 seconds left, tied up. The Spurs had more than a chance to send the Warriors home here and now. George Gervin on the inbound. This is for all the marbles. Silas for the win. Oh my gosh! We're going to third overtime, man. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. We would be going to a third overtime. Wemby and Manu once again would be a big help off the bench. The Spurs would be up 3 with 2 minutes remaining. And this third overtime would also be breaking my game. And Wemby's still not, they're keeping their players in. I don't know. Whoa. The game has been on so long that the camera's glitched. The game's been on so long the camera's glitched. I don't even know what's going on. I just tried to fix it. I don't know. What the hell? Who's gonna shoot? Brick. I have to use one of their timeouts. I have to try to fix this. I have to use a timeout and take over. I'm so sorry. I did just use a Spurs timeout because, like, I need the camera to not look like that. All right, I fixed it. I mean, we've been in the game so long that stuff's happening that I've never seen. The Spurs are up 3. Steph for the tie. Oh my, I wouldn't have been shocked. The Spurs can put him to bed right here. Gervin drives into Timmy D. The Warriors got to do something quick and now. Steph's got to move. Oh my. Battle the bigs, he's bullying. Bro, Wilt is insane. David Robinson, inside. Oh, Wilt! Wilt met him! Oh my gosh. Steph? Okay. What is that, Steph? Steph's throwing. Steph's actually throwing. Now they're David Robinson's throwing. Rick Barry inside. Tony Parker strips it. What is going on? I need blood pressure medication. Silas drives. Stolen by Rick Barry to the rim. A 1-point game. They're gonna have to foul probably. They're gonna have to foul. Yep. Oh my, what a risky pass, bro. Tony Parker to make it a 3-point game. We might go to 4. We might just go to 4. And at this point, we've pretty much been in every situation you could be in a basketball game. And if you've made it to the 3rd overtime in this jump in, just please subscribe for more funky little moments like this. The ball was quite literally in the Warriors' court, and they were down 3 with the shot clock turned off. Steph is open. Draymond. Okay, to the rim. Oh, foul. Steph hits the first. Make it a 1-point game. He does that. It's going to be some free throws. I'm just going to assume Tony Parker's going to hit both of these. So if I skip through, that's why. It's P. Hits the first. Bottom. He missed! Why would I say that? I just had the announcer's jinx. 10 seconds remaining. 10 seconds. I can't talk. Steph's going for the ball game. I can feel it. He's going for the ball game. Okay, no, he's going for the time. He missed! Despite Wilt's 54-minute, 30 and 25 stat line, the San Antonio Spurs would prevail, taking over the entire map, cementing their franchise as the greatest of all time. But wait, if we did an Imperialism with modern NBA teams, would the Oklahoma City Thunder still be champions? Click on the center of the screen to find out.